All right. Good afternoon. We're going to be starting a new series on um, doing research on Instagram hashtags, trying to find posts that are going viral, and then see if we can basically generate a script of how those videos are created. The idea here is not necessarily to be making the videos ourselves, but try and find hashtags, keywords that we're interested in, do research on them, and then find them. So I had asked ChatGPT to kind of give me a starter for this project, and it actually went out and went even further, because I had mentioned that I do YouTube live streaming before. So it said, well, you should extract your live stream recordings and then try and get the viral moments out of those and then post them to others. So it went beyond the initial scope that I had given it. I hadn't given it too much detail, just really about wanted to go on to Instagram, do some keyword research, or not keyword, hashtag research. And then keyword research is as other platforms mention them. And it went and kind of drew out that to other platforms. So it came up with a method to try and extract highlight clips from the video that I had made. So any of these live streams, it would try and use those to search for them and find highlight clips and then high engagement segments. Now, I'm not sure how well these prompts actually work. It looks like it's actually just calling OpenAI, but I never specified what to use. I didn't say like I have OpenAI API access or anything like that. So because I asked ChatGPT, it probably just went with, yeah, you're going to use OpenAI. You're going to use GPT-4 for the model here, even though I'm pretty sure there are other models that would be more useful at this. If you go through just your selection on ChatGPT, I wouldn't necessarily think that this would be something that the reasoning models would help, but I thought that this would go with I think it's GPT-4o or GPT-4 Turbo, just for something that is a little bit faster in terms of its completion, or like GPT-4 is the general model that you use like when you make a new request in ChatGPT. So I'm surprised there. It didn't even suggest using the any of the reasoning models, which was kind of surprising. And like I said, it's going with the oldest of its models, not necessarily the newest. And I thought that something like 4.0 would probably be better for this. So I went there, and then it said it came up with a function to use ChatGPT to generate hashtags for the post itself. So it seems that it focused really on trying to take the file or the video that I had and then do that. And then I'd asked it another update afterwards to, hey, we should analyze the other live streams. It's one of the main components of this. And then it put it there as an option to do. Like it just says analyzing trending posts, but it left this open to all the platforms as well. That's why it has platform URL here. So it's going to go look at Twitter and create a different grouping for that. Instagram, Facebook. I guess it leaves it able to expand out to other platforms as well, but those were the three that it had generated here. So you can see like the Instagram agent, it's going to get the transcript of video, try and then find the key timestamps. Then it has really basic prompts here. I wouldn't say that these are great by any means and likely need a lot of work for something to be useful here, because you're an expert Instagram marketer. Okay. And then generate an Instagram post caption for a viral YouTube live stream clip. Again, what is the actual clip related to? I don't know that that is even in here at all, right? It's just saying to generate the content itself. So it needs more context in terms of what it's got here. It doesn't even know what the content itself is. And then generate hashtags based on the caption that is created from the model response here. So without that proper context, it really does not know or won't know what to do with it. It'll be really generic in terms of what it's doing here, and I'm guessing that the hashtags it provides won't be doing it. So this section in each of these will need more of the prompt engineering, and we can get into that here in a little bit. This one here is the same thing for Facebook, so it treats them differently, and I would as well when I'm going with this. The audience on Facebook is older than it is on Instagram. Instagram is also very much focused on the video, where Facebook has it, but it's more important about the title and post content that you have here as well. And then similarly, the Twitter agent as well. Now, what's interesting is that it knows I'm on YouTube, but does not do anything as far as like Instagram Shorts go. So YouTube Shorts go. So taking a longer video, breaking it down into like these smaller viral pieces is very easy, or should be very easy for it to do, and then make those YouTube videos here as well. So there is work to go to expand upon this, and you can see here, like I have to provide the API keys for each of the platforms, and then you need to use OpenAI as well. So I'm going through here. It never asks for the API, right? No, I don't see it. Okay. So maybe that's why they're using GPT-4, is because it's something that's freely available in Python. So there's not really much of anything that has to be done in terms of adding extra access there. We had done in the past a YouTube video summarizer that had used, that didn't even use OpenAI. Well, it used OpenAI's Whisper model, which was freely available. So maybe GPT-4 is freely available here as well. So maybe that's why it went this way. But let's kind of work through this a bit and then see what improvements are there. So then I'd gone back and forth. And the funny thing is, as I asked ChatGPT more questions or to add more features, what tended to happen was it would overwrite this section here with each of these platforms to basically include the thing that I most recently asked for, but then lost the previous things along the way. So I asked it to, the example with YouTube Shorts, to include those, and then it was completely wiped out of the code file that it had been providing. And because it updates the code file over and over itself, it was there at one point, but now is completely gone. And then it's not really, again, looking at the actual file itself for what we're looking for, right? So in terms of it generates content. Well, let's go back here. Where's content coming from in this process? We are at the Instagram agent. The generate content then is the step here where it makes the content. Yes. So here you go. It tries to do competitor analysis here, but it really is just looking at the live stream tag. So it's not really narrowing it down, right? Like I'm in a very specific area. I imagine a lot of the live stream content that you're going to see there will vary, but for what I know, I don't imagine that there are too many educators on the platform leveraging Instagram that would show in the live stream hashtag. So that would need more refinement as well. So I would say, like, overall, in terms of this, like, I spent about half an hour going back and forth with ChatGPT on the explanation. And like I said, it would overwrite whole sections of its own thing. So like we lost things that I had asked for along the way. Like I said, there was around YouTube Shorts, I gave it specific examples. So I said, like, since I was on, it knew I was a YouTube live streamer. I asked it to use the AI agents playing Pokemon as an example here. And the response ended up being very generic. So it put that as like the header of the section. So it's literally AI agents playing Pokemon Red live streams. But then the content strategy was exactly the same as what I had asked it, or what it had laid out before when I asked like how it would break down the videos. And then it says platform specific approaches, and that part is specific in terms of the content that it's going to post there. So for example, for Instagram, it mentions reels and stories. That's all well and good, but that does not lay out like what is the approach to improving on that platform in terms of using this content here. It literally just says for reels, feature captivating moments from the AI's gameplay. And it's like, that's not what's broken down in these streams, right? We have 4 agents playing at the same time. So it really doesn't understand what's going here. And then for stories, sharing progress updates. Well, that's the point of the streams themselves. So it's not really doing a great job at figuring out how to engage with each of the platforms. Like I would give this like a very, I want to say like a DC level effort here. There's really not a whole lot that it's adding here. It did provide basically boilerplate code that I can use to build off of, which is fine because I'm at least more experienced and can use this to work off of. But if you were an individual trying to use this to try and help out yourself or your business, it's not there. And trying to tweak the prompts that I gave it along the way, it wasn't generating more information. Like I said, it would basically overwrite a section that it had previously written, and then would remove it in the very next update itself when I said, like would give it more details to follow up on, or ask it, okay, let's move to the next step. Because the general idea was that this would be kind of a multi-phase project here. And let me see if I have it in the original prompt. So where is it here? So after that, the initial draft, I'd ask it like, what method are you using to evaluate the viral posts? The system prompts need to be more explicit and specific to the live streams. We should start by analyzing other live streamers' social media accounts to evaluate what is working for them. And instead of updating the code, it put together a strategy of analyzing other streamers. The problem is that the streamers that it had used for examples were not people who were similar to me in any way, shape, or form. So it said, study the social media strategies of top live streamers like Pokemon. And then similarly, Phantom has built a follow by live streaming everyday activities. So neither of these people are similar to me and not in the same education subspace. So I told it like it's not, the response that it's giving me is not valuable. I'm not live streaming a video game. I live stream coding projects. For example, I have agents streaming Pokemon Red, and each platform should be treated differently. So then it came up with a live stream strategy for me, forgetting that I was asking it on the original post to go through and break out pieces from these videos to use to post to other platforms. So it's already gotten off topic and away from where I want it to be. So then I gave it to the O1 model, and it was slightly better in terms of getting output to be generated. The final version of the code that you see here is what came out of the O1 version. So it's really left things to be desired. And then the challenge with the O1 version was the same as what was with the 4.0 version, where it would rewrite sections of the code, but overwrite once it did that. So it would say, I would pick something like, let's say halfway down. So like it didn't have this extract highlight clips or this part, like I had specifically laid out what to do there. It first laid out like analyze the trending posts. And what it did here was it made one that was specific for Instagram to do that. But then I said, well, we want this to be across all the platforms. Each platform is different in terms of how users engage with it. And so then it split this out, but then it ended up getting rid of hold on here. So it split out like the extract viral moments for each of these platforms, but it listed that YouTube Shorts should be one, but it didn't actually make one. And then when I asked it to go through and do YouTube Shorts, well, then it started to get rid of the code here in terms of this look through the videos themselves. So it seemed like it really struggled with being able to refer back to the code that it already generated. And the O1 model, you can't give it a file to use in its analysis. So for example, I couldn't take the code that it generated, save that as a Python file, and then use that in the next prompt when you're doing it in the chat window. You can do this with the API and ask it to make or suggest updates. But again, I'm trying to do this from the approach of I'm an individual building these and I'm trying to teach others how to build things, and really trying not to use the API methods, which tend to be a little bit better and a little bit more robust because you have more control over it. So you can even see here in what it generates you is that there's a system prompt. And when you go into ChatGPT in the projects, you can now essentially give it that system prompt capability, but you now lose out on being able to use the reasoning models by doing so. So because again, I want to give it the code, and as soon as I attach a file, I can now no longer use the O1 or the O3 models. So I'm hoping that they add that as a feature for individuals, because it would be great if they could be able to present it the files that you're trying to give it. And the crazy thing is that DeepSeek has this capability where you can upload the file and ask it to suggest changes to you. So I could ask it to take this code, it's never seen it before, can you tell me what it's doing here and make suggestions to change it? And you know what, let's do that here. So it's gonna get weird for a second, just bear with me. So I'll bring DeepSeek out here. Let's do attach the file, documents, go to Instagram trends, to research here. Okay. Is that just because it's not the saved file? Maybe the case. Let me make sure I save this. Okay, and let's see how it does. Perfect. So yeah, just because I didn't save it. Okay. So read through the Python code file attached. Add help text to the functions to explain what they do, and give me suggestions for how you would improve the code. My goal is to take to provide my YouTube channel the code will go through my videos and create viral posts on other social media channels. The goal here is to increase subscribers and watch time on YouTube. So I had also laid this out to ChatGPT as like what the end goal is here for these, to see if they could really understand it. And then one of the things that I do like about DeepSeek here is that you see the reasoning that it is attempting to do. To do it. So you can see here, okay, it's writing good helper text for each of the functions in the original code. Interesting. So yeah, like here, okay, now it's going to go to the YouTube, right? Just go and create. Interesting. So it made improvements, but then it stopped partway through. So I generated a bunch, but then it stopped. So like I can't just copy the code here, and I can't expand upon this as well. So it got through like the very beginning, right? If we go back here, yeah. So it really didn't even generate the code for the other platforms. It did say like we should have a YouTube handler class to go and get the videos from my channel, but didn't actually generate any code to do so. It left those completely blank. Its prompt is slightly updated, I guess. Like it's actually incorporating what the platform here is, mentioning that the goal is to try and drive people to YouTube. But this in particular is really not much better in terms of the output. And then, okay, so this made sure to include other platforms like YouTube and TikTok to do that. But it doesn't actually provide any of the code. It gives me a function with nothing underneath of it. So all in all, not particularly helpful. I'm curious what some of the other platform tools would be able to do. I know GitHub had recently launched some changes on Copilot. So maybe I'll come back. Today's Friday. Maybe I'll come back this evening or Saturday and put together a stream where we'll try out GitHub Copilot, see how well that tends to perform with these, and then tools like Cursor, and I know there's a ton out there to see if there's anything that would do well with this. So we tried ChatGPT. It's okay, but very, very basic. Did the same thing with DeepSeek here, even providing it the boilerplate code that ChatGPT had provided, and it basically started doing the same thing, just providing boilerplate, not actual content here. So I think it's time to start going into at least using some trials on some other platforms to see if it can actually generate the code for us in a way that would actually be useful. I know like this is all purely backend, so we don't have even a front end. So that's why I was thinking of something like Cursor, where it helps generate everything for you. You just need to generate code, and it can help you with that to try and get that going, because this is really not doing a whole lot in terms of what is adding to these suggestions. Like I'm providing most of the context to ChatGPT and DeepSeek, and it's not really adding much of anything. And as we like I said, we're conversing with ChatGPT back and forth, it was actually wiping out sections of the code, which is not what I wanted. I just simply wanted to add more things to it. So I'm guessing there are limitations in terms of how far, not necessarily how far, how much code it can generate in a chunk, and it's trying to stay within that, likely to keep the token costs down. But we're using it in chat, so it's, I guess, like we shouldn't really have those same token limits, and there's no way we're getting to the context window length, because I'm pretty sure 4.0 length is, it's either 64 or 128,000 tokens that can be generated. And what we're seeing here is nowhere near that. Like the description here that DeepSeek provided was longer than any of the ones that we had gotten from ChatGPT in the process of going back and forth. So what I'll do is I'll stop today's stream here. I'm going to go do some research on some of the other tools that are out there, try and get a trial or two on them, and see if we can use that to begin building this out and see how much further we can get, even just within those trials. So we'll be really focused on this for the next couple of days or weeks, depending on how long those trials last, to create a comparison. And I think what we'll do is we'll give each of them the same task, right? So we're actually comparing apples to apples on them and see how well does it perform in terms of what it's generating code-wise for this project, and just seeing if we can do anything with it that would be beyond really what we're getting with ChatGPT and even DeepSeek here. Like, I know DeepSeek is free. You just have to sign up there, but it didn't generate much more than what we did. It just added more description to the tasks. So, the functions. And it didn't even, in what it gave back to me, it did the first two, basically, and didn't add anything additional beyond that. So it's like, it's really not, providing much value over what ChatGPT did. And yeah, it rewrote the prompt, but it's, again, still very generic. It's just going purely off the transcript. So don't think that this is ultimately going to be very useful to people. Like, if I were trying to think of this as a product to release, this would be nowhere in the state, even for a rough POC that I would consider this. This would still need a lot of refactoring in my mind. So like I said, I'll go out and explore some of the tools that we can leverage to try and get better results here. And hopefully when I come back, we'll have more to go through. So for those of you who are watching this video, thank you for being here. Please make sure you do like and subscribe here on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next video.